Ritsuka was in Chaldea's summoning room. In front of him was the summoning altar that was used previously to summon servants from the throne of heroes. Right now, he was placing the Saint Quartz that he saved up recently and was hoping to summon a servant today. Senpai? Mashu said from the entrance of the summoning room. HM? Oh, hey Mashu, Ritsuka said with a smile on his face. Are you summoning more servants today? Mashu asked. Hopefully so. I see. Mashu then went up to where Ritsuka was and looked at the summoning altar with memories in her head. The summoning altar. HM? What about it, Mashu? Ritsuka asked, noticing her look at the summoning altar. Well, we made a lot of memories here, huh? The number of servants we summoned, all of those times. Yeah, I still remember them, the way how they were summoned. However, the one summoning that possibly shocked me the most was the day when we summoned Shirou here. Oh yeah, I remember that day, especially what happened afterwards. Yeah. To this day, my mind is still dumbfounded over the fact that many of the servants here knew Shirou, Ritsuka said with a laugh. And to add a fact, many people now knew him because of his actions throughout of Chaldea. That too, Mashu said with a chuckle. Ritsuka and Mashu then stopped talking and continued looking at the summoning altar and reminisce. As they did, memories of their past in Chaldea flew through them. Eventually, Ritsuka and Mashu stopped looking at the summoning altar and then began to do their business. Well, time to summon a servant, Ritsuka said as he activated the altar. As he did, altar lit up, temporarily blinding the two from how bright the light was. The Saint Quartz then disappeared, then formed into multiple blue orbs. Then the blue orbs started to connect with each other and turned into a ring of blue sparks swirling around. Then the ring split into 3 and continued to swirl around. As the light faded, it revealed a gold card showing a robed old man wearing a hood with a long beard holding a staff while carrying a book at the same time. The card then disappeared as a girl appeared. The girl looked like she was in her high school years. She was wearing a dark navy sailor school uniform with a red scarf, a pleated skirt, black knee socks, and brown shoes. She had brown hair and brown eyes. This is my first time saying this, servant caster, Hakuno Kishinami, are you my master? Hakuno said quietly. For a moment, Ritsuka and Mashu were surprised with the servant at first. Then they greeted themselves. Why yes. I am your master. My name is Fujiwara Ritsuka. Over here is Mashu Kirelight. And nice to meet you Hakuno-san, Mashu said with a bow. Nice to meet you too Mashu-san, Hakuno replied with a bow of her own. Anyways, where am I? You are in Chaldea, Ritsuka said. Chaldea? What is that? Chaldea is an organization designed to protect humanity. What we do is that we summon servants using the summoning altar and fix singularities with them. I see. Are we at its headquarters? Yes. In Antarctica. Hakuno's eyes widen upon hearing Ritsuka's explanation. Antarctica? Yeah. Shocked? Well, not quite. Considering that something similar like this is on the moon where I come from, Hakuno stated. This time, it was Ritsuka and Mashu's turn to be surprised. The moon? There was something like this on the moon where you came from, they exclaimed in unison. Yeah. Wow. Ritsuka said. Anyways, welcome to Chaldea Hakuno. I hope we get along with each other, Ritsuka said as he held out his hand for a handshake. Hakuno then responded to the handshake by shaking it as well. Yeah. I hope so too. It was then that a certain servant decided to drop in. Eh? Master? Mashu? Ritsuka and Mashu then turned to the source of the voice. It was Emiya Shirou, carrying a box. Eh? Shirou-san? What are you doing here? Me? Well, Da Vinci gave me an errand to run. She told me to find you and give you this box. Inside it are papers for you signed for something. Ritsuka moaned upon hearing Shirou's explanation. Really? Yeah. Anyways, is that a new servant over there? Shirou asked as he was carrying the box. Yeah. Her name is Hakuno. Please welcome her nicely. I will. Shirou then placed the box down in a corner. He then went up to her and gave her a bow. My name is Emiya Shirou. Pleased to meet you, Hakuno. Hakuno then took a bow too. It's nice to meet you to Shirou. My name is Hakuno Kishinami. I hope we get along, Shirou. Yeah. Me too. Both of them lifted their heads up after they were done with their introductions. It was then that Ritsuka gave Shirou a task. Shirou. I'm sorry for imposing work on you already, but can you give Hakuno a tour of Chaldea so that she doesn't get lost here? Sure. I don't mind. Great. You and Hakuno can leave now. Me and Mashu will be fine here. Okay. Come on, Hakuno, let's go. Why yes. And then Shirou and Hakuno left the summoning room, leaving Ritsuka and Mashu alone. Will Shirou be fine giving Hakuno a tour of Chaldea senpai? Mashu asked. He'll be fine. He's just giving her a tour. Anyways, Mashu, can you help me with the papers? Why yes. Shirou and Hakuno are walking the Chaldea's hallway, where Shirou was showing Hakuno the rooms Chaldea has to offer. And over there is one of the recreational rooms in which servants can take a break over there and relax after doing missions with Master, he said. I see. And what's that room over there? Hakuno asked as she was pointing to that room. HM? Ah, over there is the training room in which servants can go over there to hone their skills and become stronger. Is that so? Yeah. It was then that a servant came out of the training room. That servant was Lancer CU, who just finished his daily training. As he walked out of the room, he noticed Shirou and Hakuno together, making him smirk. Hey kid! Who's the girl with you? A new servant? Yeah. She just arrived today. Her name is Hakuno Kishinami. I see. Welcome to Chaldea, young miss. You'll find it interesting here, Lancer CU said with a toothy grin. Anyways, hey kid. Thanks for lending a copy of Gibalg to my caster counterpart. He looked so happy when he was using it. I swear, you should have seen his face when he was using it. Was he really that happy? Shirou asked. You have no idea. Anyways, see you later. Lancer CU said as he left. Who was that? Hakuno asked. CU Chula-in, one of the many servants of Chaldea, Shirou replied. Is he a friend of yours? Shirou gave Hakuno's question a long thought and said, you can say that. Anyways, shall we move on? Yes. Shirou and Hakuno then continued to walk through the main hallway of Chaldea, where Shirou continued showing Hakuno the rooms of Chaldea. As they continued walking, some of the servants recognized Shirou and came up to him, congratulating him or thanking him for his work in Chaldea. During the walk, Hakuno was amazed with the amount of praise Shirou was receiving. Wow, you seem to be quite popular here, Shirou. And nice too, Hakuno said. Well, it's because I try to help others if I can. And that's only half of it. How so? Shirou let out a small sigh. Before I became a servant, I was a master in the Fuyuki Holy Grail War. That's how most of the servants knew who I am. Hakuno was surprised hearing this from Shirou. Really? You were a master of a Holy Grail War as well? Shirou was now surprised as well. You too? Yeah. although mine took place in the moon cell. Moon cell? What is that? It's a supercomputer on the moon. Shirou was stunned to hear that. You got to be kidding me. Surprised? Yeah. Back when I was alive, technology didn't advance to that point, so hearing that in your world, there is a supercomputer on the moon, shocked me a bit. I see. Sorry if you had to hear that, Hakuno apologized. Nah, it's okay. I'm used to hearing crazy stuff at point. Shirou said with a chuckle in his voice. Anyways, let's continue the tour, shall we? Yes. As the tour continued, Hakuno had some thoughts about Shirou. Emiya Shirou, he seems to be a nice guy, considering that every servant we came across seems to be on friendly terms with him. Although there's one thing that is bothering my mind, is he related to Nameless in one way or another? As they continued walking, they encountered one servant that shocked Hakuno. Emiya. Hey. Did you give Master the box yet? Emiya asked. Yeah, Shirou replied. Good. By the way, who's the girl? She's a new servant that just joined. Her name is Hakuno Kishinami. I see. Welcome to Chaldea, Hakuno. Why yeah. Hope we get along with each other. Me too. Anyways, I got to go now. Bye, Emiya said as he left. Bye. As Emiya disappeared in the distance, Hakuno then asked Shirou a question. Was that Nameless? Although he seems different. Shirou was confused. Nameless? Who's that? One of my servants. Let me show you something. Hakuno then took out a picture of Nameless. As Shirou looked at the picture, he was shocked. What? That's Nameless? But he looks a lot like Archer. Shirou? Hakuno said, snapping Shirou out of his thoughts. Shirou let out a small sigh. Well, Hakuno, that's not the servant you were talking about. Hakuno was confused. What do you mean by that? Well, the person that was in front of you was my future counterpart, Emiya. Is that so? But how come he looks a lot like him? Well, this is probably my guess, but Nameless is probably a version of Emiya from your world where things happen differently. I know, because I asked him about his life a while ago, and he didn't mention the moon cell. Really? Yeah. Shirou then continued giving Hakuno the tour. As the tour continued, Hakuno had a thought going through her head. So that's why Shirou seemed familiar to Nameless, well, sort of. He's the younger version of him from another world. Wow. There was another version of Archer in her world. And he went by Nameless. Shirou thought. As the tour continued, Shirou and Hakuno decided to take a left turn in the hallway. It was then that they came upon a certain group of servants. Those servants were Saber Nero, Tamamo no Mei, BB, and Archer Gilgamesh. Nero, Emiya, Tamamo, and BB looked at Shirou and Hakuno in shock, while Gilgamesh had a grumpy look on his face. My Preetor? Gashin-sama? Senpai? Gilgamesh didn't say anything but remained shocked upon seeing Hakuno and a bit angry at Shirou. Meanwhile, Hakuno was the same as the other servants upon seeing them. Everyone? In an instant, Nero, Tamamo, and BB immediately lunged themselves at Hakuno and gave her a giant hug. Welcome back, they said in unison and happiness. Hakuno let out a small smile upon receiving a hug and said, yeah. I'm back. It's nice to see all of you again. My Preetor, what took you so long? Nero said. I've been counting the days, Goshijin-sama. Tamamo said. It's not nice to keep Senpai waiting, you know. BB said. Soon Archer Gilgamesh soon came up to Hakuno. Huh. I knew that we would meet again, Archer Gilgamesh said with pride in his voice. Although why did you have to meet with the faker? He mumbled at the last part. Meanwhile, Shirou looked at the scene with curiosity. Hakuno, do you know all of these servants? HM? Ah yes, they're my servants during my time in the moon cell, Hakuno replied. I see, wait, all 4 of them? No. Only Nero, Tamamo, and Gilgamesh. BB was the one who created the moon cell Holy Grail War. Shirou was shocked upon hearing the information Hakuno gave him. Really? Hakuno was the master of Nero, Tamamo, and Gilgamesh? Geez, just what kind of master was she? As Nero, Tamamo, and Gilgamesh were around Hakuno, Nero then noticed that Shirou was in the corner. Ah. My praetor, it seems you have met Emiya Shirou already. Omu. You know Emiya Shirou, Nero? Omu. He is also my praetor. He is well skilled, I must say, especially in the ways of cooking, she said in an excited tone. Hey. He's my senpai. You can't have him, Nero. He's mine. BB explained. Hakuno was surprised upon hearing both Nero and BB's explanations/praise about Emiya Shirou. Emiya Shirou is both Nero's praetor and BB's senpai? Geez, just what did Emiya Shirou do to get attention from them, especially BB? Nero, Tamamo, and BB let go of Hakuno from their hug, giving her some space. So, what are relationships with Emiya Shirou? Hakuno asked Emiya, Tamamo, and Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh scowled. He's someone I don't want to admit or accept, and I hate him so much, he muttered in anger. He's a fellow Japanese servant who I respect in both cooking and fighting. Tamamo said in excitement. Anyways, what are you doing here? Me? I've been summoned here as servant for Chaldea. Huh? What class are you? Gilgamesh asked. Caster. Is that so? That's a class that seems fitting for you, since you were able to control 4 servants at once, Gilgamesh gloated. Emiya let out a sigh. By the way, what were you doing with my younger self? HM? Oh, he was giving me a tour of Chaldea up until now. Is there a problem with that? Well, no. I'm just wondering. I see. Anyways, Shirou, do you mind if I spend some time with my former servants? Hakuno asked Shirou. Sure. I don't mind, Shirou replied. Nero let out a smile. As expected from my praetor. He shows kindness to everyone, she exclaimed happily. Hey. He's my senpai, you know. Hakuno sighed. Anyways, you can carry on, Shirou. Till we meet again. Yeah. Bye, Hakuno, Shirou said with a smile. Hakuno smiled back. Bye, Shirou. Shirou then left, leaving Hakuno to Nero, Emiya, Tamamo, BB, and Gilgamesh. As Shirou disappeared in the distance, BB then asked Hakuno something. Well? What do you think of senpai? BB asked. Hakuno then gave a thought to her question and said, he's a nice guy. I can see how people can respect him. Wish I can talk to him a bit longer and learn more about him. I know, right? Oh, just wait when I put you and him in a room with me. Oh, the many possibilities. BB exclaimed excitedly. Hakuno then chopped BB's head. BB, behave, she said with a sigh. Speaking of which, why was Gilgamesh glaring at Shirou this whole time? Gilgamesh turned his head to the other way, not wanting to answer that question. However, that was when BB decided to do something crazy. Let me tell you something, senpai. BB then whispered to Hakuno. After a few seconds, Hakuno was shocked. Eh? The reason why Gilgamesh was glaring at Shirou this whole time was because he lost to him? And his most precious treasure was beaten as well by his noble phantasm? Hakuno exclaimed in surprise. Gilgamesh then turned to Bibi in anger. How dare you? Bibi then let out a smug grin. Hey, she wanted to know the answer, so I told her. Why you? Then Gilgamesh and Bibi started to fight against each other. As they were fighting each other, Hakuno let out a sigh as Tamamo watched the fight. Some things will never change. It was then that Nero asked Hakuno a question. Hey my praetor. What? Do you wish to claim Emiya Shirou? Nero asked mischievously. Hakuno blushed. What? Make. Shirou was walking in the hallway of Chaldea, minding his own business. As he did, he then noticed a picture on the ground. A picture? What is it doing here? Did someone drop it? Shirou thought before he proceeded to pick it up. However, when he saw the picture, he was shocked. Because the picture showed Nameless wearing a biker jacket, without any shirt on. What the heck?